I'm not comfortable with that. Okay.
That's too bad.
And here we go. Oh, thank you so much for joining us on a Thursday evening, and welcome to Caching in the Northwest, the foremost podcast from the birthplace of geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're busy trying to find a parking place at the mall, we'll be caching in the Northwest. And we can't do that until we bring in our holiday howler monkey. Some say he has a cameo in the next Sharknado movie. And others say he's driven the entire coast of British Columbia for one Earth cache. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hey, good to see you, buddy. That's right. Sharknado 17, the next Sharknado movie. It's called Revenge of the Monkeys. I will be having a cameo in there. So looking forward to that.
That sounds about right for the next Sharknado movie,
Yep.
Revenge of the Monkeys.
Yeah. Because, in 16, there's the whole sharks versus monkeys thing. I don't know if you saw it, but.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah. So
I was waiting to actually catch it on video.
There's a pivotal plot point, really. So anyways, with all that, we will note that our good friend Jim is not here tonight. So guys, we ask you if you can remember to send Wits End a tweet, let him know you miss him. We always appreciate you doing that. And, he loves the love. So go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, taking his place, we have our good friend Nick Hubbard joining us from Cachely. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good to have you here, man. Looking forward to talking to you about a whole bunch of techie app stuff.
Perfect. That's what I like.
Good. And a reminder to those of you guys who are in the chat, the hashtag, if you've got questions for Nick, is hashtag Ask Cachely. So our chat lackey will grab those, anything that you hashtag that in the chat and drop it into the show notes for us so we can hashtag Ask Cachely. All right. Also, a quick reminder, we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this lovely podcast coming each and every week. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link over there. I don't know. I have no idea where I am in the real estate of our website. So it's over there on the side somewhere. Click it, please, on the cachingandw.com website.
That's right. And while you're thinking about that, let's think about glowing. Now, we're not talking about luminescence. We're talking about the geocaching log of the week. So whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email to feedback@cachingandw.com. You can use the voice recorder on your phone. Record that in your very own voice and send it via email to feedback@cachingandw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC, or you can use the voicemail tool on the website and show us how you glow. What I'm trying to say is we've got a lot of channels. We've got a lot of methods. We want your glow. We need your glows because we use one a week. And sometimes there's weeks where I don't get one. And all I'm saying is we know people are writing great logs and we want to hear about it.
Right on. That's awesome. I love the fact that the number to call is TFTC.
Isn't that funny?
To send in your really good quality log. So
you send in the great log to something that you should never use in a log.
Or you can. I mean, honestly, you know
true.
what? Why don't we talk about that in the after show? And I'll move on to tonight's glow because, talking about writing quality logs can probably take up a few episodes of this podcast and have in the past. So there you go. All right. So tonight's glow comes to us from friend of the show and frequent guest Keats94 via Facebook. And he writes, how much does this geocaching streak mean to me? Well, the day started out with a simple plan to head over to North Vancouver to find a single geocache. I'd simply take the 28 bus across the Second Narrows Bridge, take the 214 bus to the trailhead, hike up, find the cache. Easy, right? Well, I got to the trailhead no problem, hiked down to the bridge to cross the Seymour River. This dang Fisherman's Trail bridge was closed for construction. Closest bridge was 2 kilometers south. Not walking that far to cross a darn bridge. I decided to hike up a steep trail back to the road where I took the bus. The bus was going to arrive in 3 minutes. It was 3 o'clock. I got to the bus stop in a wheezing frenzy at 3:03, but missed the bus by about 30 seconds. I wait for another 30 minutes for the next bus. Around now, it was starting to get dark. I take the bus back to Phibbs and then take the 227 bus up to Lynn Canyon Park. For those who are playing at home, you can pull out your Metro Vancouver Transit map and follow the route Keats took here. High-powered headlamp clad, I ventured into Lynn Canyon. I crossed Lynn Creek via the Twin Falls Bridge and eventually wound my way to the top of the ridge. I made it to Lillooet Road and crossed it to get to the Richard Urine Trail. That's Juryn, and I'm assuming it's pronounced urine, although I just said it and then I realized, wow, that's not great. Okay.
I'm reading along going, yeah, that's how I would have said it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is what happens when the monkey cold reads a log. All right. Up I went into the dark forest to get the geocache. I got to the site and quickly found the cache. Hurrah! All that effort for signing one logbook to keep this fine streak alive for at least one more day. I decided to walk down Lillooet Road to Cap U, and I may have, no, okay, hold on. So Capilano University, not to like, doesn't have a vendetta against you, Chris.
I thought he was going to knock me off.
So to get to Capilano University, let me be specific here. And I may have seen some bears in the cemetery. This sounds like a kind of a creepy night. It was the far-spaced glowing eyes that made me suspect that they were black bears. Yeah, fair enough. I caught the bus back to safety, but what an adventure that was just for one geocache find. That's quite the log, Keats.
You know, when you've got a streak going, you will do a lot of work to maintain that streak. And we now know that Keats 94 has ended his epic daily geocaching streak at 425, I believe, correct?
Indeed. Yeah.
And congratulations to you. In the chat, Brylang says it wasn't a skookum bear that he saw.
No, probably not. Their eyes aren't set that far apart.
Oh, well, this show is all about apps.
It is.
And we've got one that we didn't expect or didn't see coming. This one comes from Groundspeak. And yes, Groundspeak, not geocaching.com. The Geocaching Adventure Lab is a new way for geocachers to find and log lab caches. Lab caches are experimental geocache type, often played at mega events. These caches count towards your geocaching stats and total finds. In contrast, lab caches are not required to have a container and can also be located indoors. So if you're going to an upcoming mega event, go ahead and download the Adventure Lab app from Groundspeak and start looking for lab caches in your area.
You know, it's a great point. I installed the app tonight on my phone and started just playing around with it a little bit. Obviously, I'm not at a mega event. There's no lab caches immediately close to me, but I haven't found any of the permanent lab caches in the greater Seattle area. So those are the ones that came up on my phone, plus a number of other lab caches at other events and permanent ones that are much further away from me. And I didn't realize how many permanent lab caches there are out there in the world. So especially in the greater Seattle area, I think there's like 4 or 5 different groups of 4 or 5 different ones. And so
the Museum of Flight has a set of 5. That was the closest one to me. I found it. There's another one within 30 miles of me that has a set of caches. And then, I started scrolling and looking, and, I stopped it when I hit 8,000 miles away of the lab caches. That's probably farther than I'm going to get this weekend.
Yeah. It was pretty cool though, because I downloaded the app and I was able to just log in with my geocaching account and it just popped up and was working for me just fine. Nick, have you had a chance to look at it yet?
I did actually. I installed it and was around my local area and stuff. I thought it looked pretty nice. I think that people will use it because there was never a dedicated lab cache app before, and it was kind of difficult to find them and log them and stuff. So
Exactly right. It's always been a little difficult to find them, and you had to use a web page for navigation, and it
yeah,
often didn't update right. So I think this is a good step forward just for lab caches, and we'll see how it works. And once we hit one of those mega events, maybe I'll.
I think it was good that they didn't. Yeah, I think it was good that they made a separate app and didn't try to integrate it in the regular geocaching app.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
It feels like it would be a pretty big lift to put that into the existing app.
Yeah.
But Nick, you're the expert on that. So,
we're guessing, but you would probably know better.
Yeah. So
I do know that they wrote it so it's cross-platform. So I don't know if they use the same cross-platform code for their regular app, but I'm pretty sure this app uses something called React Native, which allows you to write in JavaScript, and then you can deploy to both platforms, and it writes the native code for each binary file. So I don't know if they do that on their regular app, but I know this one is kind of that way. So,
well, it certainly has a different look and feel than the regular app, than the geocaching app.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought the look and feel for it was kind of fit with sort of the whole mega event feel, and yeah, I liked it. I thought it worked. I thought it worked really easy, and I thought it looked good. It was intuitive, I think, is kind of the key piece to it. It works very much in the way that when you would use the web interface on your phone for lab caches, it would work in a similar manner.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, as we've already tipped our hat, tonight we're pleased to be able to add Nick Hubbard to the show, the developer of Cachely. So Nick, how's your week going?
It's going good. It's been busy. I've been up early each morning working on the Cachely 5.0 update and just trying to finish that up so I can get it out to users. But for some reason, my beta testers keep on finding bugs that I have to fix. So
Darn beta testers.
It's a continual problem.
Boy, just tell them to stop finding them.
Okay. Better than my regular users finding them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Valid point.
Exactly.
So with that, there may be some people in our audience who haven't heard of Cachely. In case that's the case, Nick, what could you tell us about Cachely?
So Cachely is a geocaching app for iOS. It's not available for Android, and it's an official partner app through HQ. So they kind of certify our apps and say that we're official partners. You can go to the partner website that HQ has, and you can see Cachely on there. And you can log in with your regular geocaching.com account, and it brings down your account info, and you can see all of your things like your pocket queries and your lists and different things like that. So it's tightly integrated with geocaching.com. So
nice.
And yeah, and there's the regular app from HQ, and then there's Cachely, and Cachely I kind of put it as a more advanced app where we have things like offline maps for states and countries, and we have offline caches with powerful filtering and bulk uploading. You can import GPX files and export those, from GSAC or different places. We can do text translation. If you're in Germany for a month, you can just translate the different logs and the descriptions, hints, stuff like that right through Cachely. There's an FTF indicator. So if you are loading caches around your location, it'll pop up with a little FTF thing, and you can go nab that cache right away. I've had lots of users happy that they found that through Cachely. So that's been a help. It has so if you want to just use your watch and you have the GPS or the cellular on your watch, you can actually just cache with that. So people have done it, and it's kind of nice to be able to scroll on your watch. Yeah, and there's lots of other features. Too many to even mention. So
Nice. It's my primary caching app. I really do enjoy Cachly.
thank you.
Nick, how has business been with Cachly this year?
It's been good. It's been good. It's it's always up and down. It's up in the summer, and then around Christmas time, unfortunately, like right now is probably the lowest because it's wintertime. The US is probably my biggest market. So when it's wintertime, people aren't buying Cachly as much. They're not using it as much. So I see my usage go down. And then when spring and summer comes around, it goes way back up and people are excited to start using it. But I was excited to go to some mega events, which I actually saw you guys there at a couple of them, and meet some of my users and visit with them, hand out some geocoins, just try to do promotion of Cachly and promotion of, myself and try to, yeah, there you go. One of the Cachly geocoins. Yeah.
Need to look at the Cachly.
So anything I can do. Yes. Very cool. So I just try to promote things at events and online and stuff like that, and really just get the word out to the people that haven't heard about it before.
Very cool. We've got the first question for you, Nick. It's from Three Hams and a Rose. And so we're kind of doing a little bit of a deep dive already, if you're okay with a product related question.
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump in there. He says, one thing that he'd love to see changed on Cachly is to not have all caches disappear from the map when you target one. He feels that it robs the ability to detour to a different cache once you're driving.
Well, he is in luck because that feature is in 5.0, and our beta testers have already been testing it. And yeah, so that was definitely one that's been talked about for a long time. And people say, well, why can't you do that? Why can't you see other caches? So it actually uses a radius. So say you're looking at offline list with 500 caches, it's not going to pull in those 500 caches. I think I set it up to have a 5-mile radius or something like that, and it will pull in all those caches in the navigate screen. So then you can jump onto one of those other ones if you're walking past it or something. So
very cool. Well, that's I'm sure that's going to make many of your users very happy.
Your support is so timely.
Hopefully, yes.
That was pretty fast.
I just coded it right
now. We had another question. Chris, I'll take this question and then you can
okay.
take the next one after that. Landsharks asked a question, and it is, and I think this is based on the understanding that there was an attempt to fundraise to make Cachly for Android, and they're asking for the original Cachly for iPhone. Was there a fundraiser?
No, it just started out as a project that I wanted to do back in 2015, 2014, something like that. So it's just a project that I started out, and I was already an iOS developer. So, it was my focus. It's something that I already knew. The idea of the Android one a while back that I said, if people are interested in crowdfunding it, that's great. It's because I've developed a little bit for Android, but I'm not a native Android developer, and it would just take so much time that only way to do it would be to hire somebody else. And at this point, I've decided it's not something I want to continue to think about. So no Cachly funding for the iOS version. It's just been all of my own time. So.
Okay. Yeah. UDAC asks, do you promote the app in other countries? If so, how? I'm sure international cachers and iPhone users would love your app.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. One way that people probably don't notice is I promote it through App Store ads. And so if you search in the App Store on your phone, you might see ads on the top. And I do that for lots of different countries around the world, the UK, Germany, Australia. So those are kind of ones that aren't as visual, but somebody would see them. People do click on them and stuff. I also do sponsorships at mega events. There was a mega event down in Australia recently. Forgetting what the name of it was. They actually built a lab cache specifically for Cachly because that was one of the perks of being a sponsor. And it was a box that finally, when you figured out the clue with a flashlight, you had to do a couple holes. It would actually turn lights on and say Cachly. So that was pretty cool. And actually, one of my beta testers was at the event and saw it, and he was pretty stoked that he got to play with that. So yeah, usually event sponsorship is something that I do. There's another one in 2019 in Scotland that I'm one of the main sponsors for, called the Aberdeenshire event. Yep. in 2019. So Cachly is, I think, one of the only top sponsors on that one. And then magazines, I put an ad in different magazines, geocaching magazines. There's one in the UK that I have some ads in and stuff. So I'm looking for other ways to promote, especially like in Germany. I think that Cachly hasn't got a hold on a place like that that's really into geocaching, but my numbers aren't as big in a place like that, even though it's translated into German, and there is some users, but I would love to grow that user base.
Nice. Well, fitting right into that, MC3 Cats asks, what country outside the US has the most Cachly users?
That would be the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, Australia and Germany, Canada, kind of those ones are the next ones. But definitely US is high, and the other ones are kind of way down here, unfortunately. But that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense as well. I get that. But moving on to some of the questions that we had worked with you in advance there, Nick. We were wondering if you were going to be able to give us a quick rundown, because you mentioned you're beta testing version 5 right now. Maybe some of the top most demanded features that have been implemented in version 5.
Yeah, so there's demanded features, and then there's features that I wanted to build, and so I tried to, listen more to the features that people wanted. But the one that I really wanted to work on and build in was new offline maps. The old ones that are currently in Cachly are slow. The styles don't look that great. There's no hill shades and contours, stuff like that. And so I probably for the past year on a new mapping system that's beautiful maps. They're, again, for the whole world. They're searchable. They have contours and hill shades like I've been wanting. And it's just much more flexible and easy than the last version that I had. And then again, it's vector maps, so you can download like a whole state of Washington and keep that on your phone. And then, anywhere where you browse in Washington is going to have all of your data. And it's based on OpenStreetMaps. So whatever is in OpenStreetMaps will get generated and built into the cache. So we have that. That's something I was really excited about.
Really nice. Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes,
how much data would say a state? I know states vary in size, but an average state would use how much storage?
Maybe between like 150 to 300 megabytes. So something like Washington would be smaller, obviously, than California.
Right.
So, yeah.
So no reason to upgrade to the huge phone. We can do it with just the average iPhone.
Well, those what are the small ones? 15 gigabyte ones are getting pretty small nowadays. I mean, people are using the OS, and a couple apps are pretty much using all of the phone. But 32 or 64 are definitely gonna be good. And another feature is, so we have offline lists that hold all your offline geocaches, and people always said, why can't I open 2 of them at the same time? View a couple of them. So in 5.0, you'll be able to just select a couple different lists you want to view, and then it will show all those caches on the map, and you can actually do filtering and different things like that on that result of all those lists. Also, you can view your entire database. If you want to view every single cache you have offline on your entire phone, you can do that. So that's something that took a little work, because I originally hadn't built Cachly to view all those different ones offline. Another feature that I had blogged about and put on social media was highlighting in color. So previously, you could highlight just in one color, which was this default kind of actually ugly red color. And now you can choose from, I think, 20 different colors. And so if you want to, say you're going on a trip and you want to, mark a certain set of them as blue, another set as green, another set as yellow, you can do that. And then what's nice is it syncs across to all your other devices through iCloud. So if you have an iPad and an iPhone, it'll sync it over there, and it saves them, between a restart and stuff.
Is that just the highlights that are synced across the multiple devices?
The colors as well.
The colors, yeah. I mean, the colors and the ones you've highlighted, okay, but not the actual caches.
Not the actual offline caches, because that's quite a bit of data. I mean, if you had, some people are holding 50,000 caches on their thing, and that's probably about a gig of data, because you have, every single cache might have 30 logs in it, and that's a lot of data. And then, as somebody had asked about this, another one is the navigating to a cache and you caches around you. So that was definitely requested by a lot of people. So I felt like that needed to go in. So those are just a couple quick ones. There's many, many, many more. Too many. I don't even have a list of all the ones that I've built in there. They're just all in my release notes of each version, and I need to finally write up the actual all the features that we put in there. But there's quite a few. So, and I'll be keeping to look for info about 5.0. But on my blog, I'll be releasing different highlights of the different 5.0 features. I have one about offline maps coming where it shows all the different features and stuff. So that'll be something to look to.
Right on. So if it's in beta testing, it's coming soon then.
Yeah, I've been working on it for probably since February, and my beta testers have had it for the past 4 months probably. And I did a smaller beta group this time. I used to have about 100 beta testers, and it was just an overwhelming amount of feedback. And so this time we have a group of about 12 people, and we use Slack and we communicate on there, and it's just much easier than we used to use email and forums, and it's just so much quicker for people that know about Slack. It's just really, really nice.
Yeah, I think HQ uses Slack as their project development.
I'm sure they do. It's super nice for distributed teams.
Very cool. All right. So Nick, I have another question for you, but before I get to that, I think you're kind of touching on something that maybe not a lot of people know. So here's my next question that we didn't put into the show notes, but I'm going to ask you,
Sure.
which is, how big is the development team at your head office of Cachly there?
Yeah, so this is the head office right here, and it's just me. So, I mean, I have to definitely give credit to all of my beta testers because they do an incredible amount of work. We're talking daily about things. So there's some guys in there that put a lot of time into that. So it's invaluable that they're helping me. But as far as coding it, is just me. There's no company that's multiple people or anything like that. So that's why it's hard when some people say, they get frustrated that I don't have an Android version or that I'm not doing something, when I tell them that it's just me, and it's also I have a full-time job outside of Cachly. So that's the reality of it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think it was important to maybe share that, because I think people just tend to assume when they see an app, and an app of the quality of Cachly. Now, I'm an iPhone user for work, and I don't really use my work phone for geocaching, but I have installed Cachly on my work phone just because I wanted to see it, and it's pretty damn impressive. So, and I know Chris and a lot of other iPhone users swear by it. So, to have an app of that quality, people will assume there's a company behind it. And well, technically, I guess there is, but it is a company of one.
There is. Yes. Yep.
Cool.
Who also does, all product development, all advertising, marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So
it's a big job.
So leading off of that, my question I did have for you, Nick, is when people do meet you at the events and such, when you get out, as you said, you make an effort to get out there and meet people and interact with them. What are the most frequent questions that you get asked?
Often it's about geocoins, because I have a bunch of Cachly geocoins, and I tell people, if you see me somewhere, that's where I will give you a geocoin. Sometimes I send them in the mail to people, but I don't sell them or anything. Yeah, there you go. I don't sell them or anything. So that's one thing that people ask. Another thing is, people want to know what new features are coming, and then give a suggestion. So those are the kind of things that people are excited to talk about, and then just tell me, that they appreciate Cachly. So, or ask questions with problems that they're having. That's another one. Troubleshoot something on the spot, which is totally fine too.
Hey, look, it's tech support. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's tech support also for all the installed Cachly users there too.
Install base.
And I always walk around with a Cachly shirt on, so people will see me and be like, "Oh, are you the Cachly guy?" So it works out well.
Are you on the Cachly team?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Do you play where you work? Yeah.
He takes his work with him.
There you go.
Now, you mentioned you're an official geocaching app publisher and have access to the API. How does your
Yes.
relationship with HQ work? Do you get to meet with them on a regular basis? Is there maybe a special forum for developers?
I think the relationship is much better than it used to be for other people. I think in the past there was developers and people that were frustrated, or people always had a bad idea about HQ. But I've had nothing but great experiences with them. I have a developer rep at HQ, and so any questions that I have, I can email her. Ask her if I can call her, and she'll work directly with us. She lets us know when there's API changes and updates. There is a forum, but it's not actually used that much. I think there's a developer email that we email, and the developers that respond are the API developers or the head guy that's over all the technical stuff for the API. They'll respond. They're pretty responsive. Sometimes it's within an hour. Sometimes it takes them a little while to figure out what I'm asking, and I'll hear back the next day. But yeah, I've had meetings up there the last couple summers. They have invited me up there to talk about different things, different promotions, new features that are coming to the API. We got to go to lunch, with all the different people. That's always fun, meeting people that I've just heard names of. Got to, meet Brian before. Got to meet Sean Boots, who's in charge of all the technology type things. So yes, it's really fun. I've enjoyed working with HQ, and I have nothing but good things to say about them. And it's nice because they don't see Cachly as a competing app. They appreciate Cachly for being kind of more advanced, and as some of them have said, they're happy to have theirs, and then at some point they're happy to have people jump onto using Cachly, and it's no competition in that realm. So yeah, it's been a really good experience.
That's pretty neat. I had no idea that. I think from the outside we perceive it as like, oh, you must be competing with them in some level. So I think that's why we're kind of curious to ask that question of you, like, what's the working relationship like? So I think it's really cool that there is that very constructive, positive working relationship with you.
Yeah, and they've put a lot of work into the new API that they created. So they're very into creating this thing for developers. It's not just for mobile developers. It's for people that have apps on Windows and Mac and Android and iOS, and even the web. They're using that same API. I'm sure like Project GC is using parts of the new API. So they're very focused on not just keeping their app. They're wanting other people to use it too, the API. So it's really nice.
Very cool. So on that same theme, sorry, I'm tripping over my words. What to you, Nick, is the most challenging aspect of being a geocaching app developer?
Probably the things that we briefly mentioned before. So it's me being a small developer and having to do the development, the marketing, posting things on social media, trying to keep up with those kind of things, finding the time to actually work on things when I'm trying to have a regular job also. Because geocaching doesn't always pay all of the bills. So that's kind of the reality of it. And it can be difficult, but it's at the end of the day, it's still a lot of fun. So I still really enjoy it.
Nice. Now, where would people contact you or find out more about Cachly and all the work that you're doing with upcoming releases and all the cool stuff?
Yeah, you can go to cachly.app. So that goes to our website. And from there, you can see links to the blog. That's where I post updates about, larger features and things like that. I will post different updates on social media. So you can, at Cachly app is my Twitter handle. And then on Facebook, you can just search for Cachly and you'll see the Cachly official page. And then there's also a Cachly user group, which has over 1,300 users. And those are people that are all there together asking questions about Cachly. They're not always directed to me. There's tons of community people who are answering questions also, which is really nice. And that's helped me out so that I'm not the only person answering questions about Cachly. So if you want to be part of a community of people, that's probably the best place to go. So we have user forums, and you can use those as well. But the largest community of people is definitely in that Facebook group. So
That's cool to have that kind of support. That must help a lot.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I very much appreciate it. Yeah.
Cool. So that's some great avenues to get in touch with you and follow what's coming out. And I think the blog is important to mention because, as you mentioned earlier, that's where all the tips and tricks about what's coming with 5 are going to be posted. So, as opposed to reading the release notes, which is always fun.
Yeah, those are just for me. Those are the fun notes just for me.
There you go. There was a comment that we had from Land Sharks in the chat that I went and grabbed because I thought it was kind of perfect, Nick. And it's they're wondering if the biggest problem is finding time to go geocaching.
Yeah, that would that would be it. My wife makes fun of me because I don't have that many finds, and I only have, a little over 100 finds, but I say I'm working on Cachly all those times that I could be geocaching, helping other people find a lot of geocaches. So, but we do get to go with our kids, and that's the biggest thing for me is taking my kids out and going to find caches, because my son especially just always loves to go find caches. There's one down by our house called Sting Thing that has a bee theme, and it's a multi-cache, and he's always wanted to go down there and figure it out because we haven't figured it out. So one of these Sundays we'll finally finish it. It's about a mile from our house. So
that's
nice.
Awesome.
Well, I think you should get a percentage of all cache finds from all Cachly users, and just
I wish that'd be great.
Yeah, even if it's just 1%.
There you go.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
That's awesome, Nick. So we've been on the shorter side tonight of some of our podcasts, but if you'd like to hang out for the after show with us, that would be awesome. If you can,
sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. So before we do that, again, sincere thanks for your time, and we definitely look forward to the next time we see you in person. Hopefully, that won't be too long. Now we talked about awesome. We talked about where people can get more information about Cachly. If people want to get a little more information about you, like maybe they want to take you and your family out geocaching somewhere, where can people contact or just keep in touch with Nick?
You can still use my Twitter handle, Cachly app, or in Cachly itself in the More tab, there's an email support option that goes directly to me. So those are really kind of the direct lines of contact to me. So. Or on Facebook. I don't love using Facebook as much, but it is something that I am forced to use to communicate with users. So
that's where everybody
you are the support team. Yes.
that is true. That is true.
Sorry, we're really pushing this one-man operation.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Nick, thank you for being with us tonight. And folks, thank you for tuning in. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget, we have more. If you don't want to wait a whole week until next Thursday, that's okay. We understand. Why don't you come out to Victoria Sunday from noon to 2? There's going to be a live event at the Shark Store, and it's a geocaching event. So if you go to GC Z Papa Bravo X-Ray,
7Z.
Oh, sorry, 7Z Papa Bravo X-Ray. You'll be able to see the event, the location, the times. Come and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a live episode of Caching in the Northwest. We'll have all 3 hosts right there. It's a rare opportunity to see all of us at one time. Or you can, go somewhere else and completely avoid us. That way you know where we are.
You know where we are, exactly.
On December 20th, so we've got December 16th, this Sunday, December 20th, that's our regular Thursday show, how to create a geo tour with Jeff and Jen from HQ. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I've got to say, like the last couple months, I've been excited about every show. We've had some great shows. Obviously the show with Brian was a highlight. Having Nick on the show, we haven't had you on the show for a long time, and being able to get some inside scoop on Cachly 5.0 and just have some fun chatting with you has been great. I'm looking forward, obviously, to the live show at the Sharks event. we've got, as you said, we've got Jen and Jeff from HQ coming on. We're going to talk all about geo tours and not just like go through a list of what are the geo tours. We're going to talk about actually what goes on behind the curtain in the creation of a geo tour and what you need to be thinking about if you're, if you like the idea of a geo tour, but what's involved. So that's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. Moving along, we've also got the Olympic Peninsula Tourism folks on December 27th for show 283. They're going to come on and talk about the Olympic Geo Tour Phase 1 and Phase 2. We're going to get the scoop with them. And hey, MC3 Cats, hope you're listening because we want you on the show January 3rd for a WSGA update, the winter WSGA update. So if you're available, we've got a place for you on the show.
Does he know he's supposed to be coming on January 3rd, or are we just informing him now? Okay.
He knows now.
Okay. Oh, he's ready for it. Oh, good.
Here we go.
Whew. Anybody else we should call out and just say, hey, by the way, you're on the show next week?
Land Sharks, you're going to be on the show on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I love it when we do planning on the fly like this.
Hey, that's, we've been doing it for 280 episodes. I think we've
done something right.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Land Sharks, we want to thank them. They are our corporate Denali level sponsor. Landsharks.ca, the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Visit their store in Victoria, British Columbia. Yeah, they've got some Christmas sales going on right now online. So, check that out. I believe they're actually at the store packing up people's Christmas presents right now and sending them off to them. So
they are such busy little elves.
They're busy little sharks. Yes, they are. The best kind of elves are sharks.
Oh, there you go.
It sounds like a t-shirt is coming there somehow. Maybe Sharknado 20.
Oh, yeah.
The best elves are sharks.
The land sharks.
Awesome. Well, we also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Bounce Bounce, Team Squirrel, Limax, and worldcaching.com. Really appreciate the support all those four give us every month. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingw.com website. Yeah, I said that at the beginning of the show and I say it at the end of the show. But at the end of the show, it's even more specialer because then I'm going to read out everybody's name just like this. Broncos Fan for Life, Sprouter, Camp Clan, Tick Magnet, Kev Mac D, Subway, Mark, Doramore, Dune Buddy, Kid Vegas 19, Geo Nav Pros, Wino Seattle, Acrodoc, Billy Robson, Genies, Antaeus, Keats 94, Trexer 0, MC3 Cats, and Kennel Barb. Got him.
Wow. I better say something just so you can catch your breath.
Thank you.
And it's going to be really short because Land Monkey, we want to know where people can find you if they're looking for you on the interwebs.
Well, you can find me on the interwebs if you're looking for me.
Oh,
you're probably going to turn out to be pretty lucky because that's where I am. Definitely,
the interwebs are so big and so wide,
and sticky sometimes. Yeah. Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Land Monkey GC. Facebook, we're Team Land Monkey. But if you search Land Monkey GC on Facebook, you're going to get me too. So that's kind of the key places to find me. There's probably content every day. I just tweeted my 5,000th tweet today.
Woohoo!
So to me, it's a milestone. I know to some people, it's like, really, that's all. But yeah, it's a lot of Twitter.
What was it?
It was a thank you to everybody who follows me and to my patrons. So
nice.
I figured for a milestone tweet, I should make it something somewhat classy as opposed to the other 4,999. But more importantly, on YouTube, if you search Land Monkey, LANMONKEY, Land Monkey on YouTube, then you can find me. And we just this week did a premiere. We released our season 1 finale, the 10th and final episode of season 1 of our geocaching adventures that took us across the Baltic on the Land Sharks Geo Tour cruise that we did this past summer. It's in Riga, Latvia. We had a lot of fun. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out. And I have a cool contest running. So if you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, you can see my post, and you just have to share that post and copy 2 friends, tag 2 friends in your share of that post, as well as subscribe to me on either Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to me on YouTube. do all those things. I know it's a lot to remember, but just follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and you'll find all the details on that. And you can win the exclusive GeoCoin set that the Landsharks had created for that adventure. So that's kind of cool. Anyways,
How very cool.
yeah.
And what's that audio jingle again?
LANMONKEY, Land Monkey on YouTube.
Nick, don't you wish you had your own audio jingle?
I think you guys should help me with that. Yeah.
I don't have one because, well, I'm not musical by nature. So we're in the same boat there. We're going to have to work on it.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Chris, hey, if somebody wanted to write you a jingle, where would they find you on the internet?
That would be great. You know, most of the time I spend on Twitter and sometimes Facebook. They're both Caching NW. Also, I have Instagram at Caching in the Northwest. You know what? We've mentioned all these sites and they could be confusing, especially when you're driving and trying to get out the pen and paper and write it down. And, you know, what you're going to do is you're going to use up all the ink and not be able to have enough to sign the logs. So what you should do is head over to cachingnw.com/hosts and read the bios and look at all those links. And you can just click them from your computer or tablet or phone. And you don't have to use any ink, and you can save that all for geocaching logs. But most of all, we want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. Call into 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, help us with our Christmas lights any time of the day or night. But the lights are more important at night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like this show, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Jay Kennedy, hosted by Chris, Jay, and Jim Paulwitz. This show's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2018 by Chris Umfenauer. And now stay tuned for
The After Show. There you go. That copyright statement, it's a mouthful. I can see.
Land Monkey.
Yeah.
We're in our 281st show. I think I've read that statement probably, you know, at least 150 times, and I still stumble over it.
It's a tongue twister. Creative Commons Attribution. There you go. Good stuff. So, after show. Nick, welcome to the after show. You survived, man.
Thank you. It's great.
Yeah, go ahead.
I always say, folks, if you're new to Caching in the Northwest, the after show is just a chance for us to talk with our live listeners, our live viewers who are with us on a Thursday evening, 9 o'clock. You can come on to YouTube. You can head on over to cachingnw.com/live and watch what's going on. Join us in the chat. It's an active community in the chat. And, you know, there are things going on in there that it's tough to keep up with. We need a chat lackey just to help us catch everything that goes through.
And a special thanks and shout out to our chat lackey. You know who you are. Thank you so much for the support you give us every week.
Do they? Do they know who they are? Is it a secret to themselves?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it like a reviewer?
Yeah. Boy, you know, I joke, but the chat lackey is such a huge benefit. I feel like I'm so much more engaged in the show than trying to read everything going through the chat and keep up. And so, chat lackey, thank you so much. We may out them on Sunday, depending on situations, or we may not. We may keep it a secret.
There you go. Yeah, it's probably one of the poorest kept secrets on the internet, but that's okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fun to pretend it's still a secret. All right. It looks like in the after show notes, I'm being baited to get into quality logs versus TFTC. So I'm going to actually put that to the end of the after show. And I want to share out Keats 94. He says, #FATAS, am I going to run into any geocachers on the ferry this Sunday? I'm looking forward to the Christmas in the Northwest event in Victoria, and I will try not to spend my entire paycheck. So I don't know if he means like to pay for the ferry or once he gets into the shark store.
Well, I think it's both, isn't it? Wits End and his daughter Dream Painter and I are coming over on the Blackball Ferry in the morning. So it's the 8:20 sailing on Sunday, and we'll be going back at 4:00. So we probably won't be on the same ferry as Keats, unless he's going to come down into the States and go back up.
That
it could happen.
Roundabout route to get to Victoria from Vancouver, yeah.
And he may spend his whole paycheck doing that.
And his whole weekend, yeah. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I think there'll be a handful of cachers coming over on the ferry. There's definitely, when we've looked at the Willitens, there's a good number of our friends from the Lower Mainland of Metro Vancouver who are coming over. So that's really cool. We're really looking forward to this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you for posting that in there, Chris. The Land Sharks mentioned in the chat that they will have a spread of Christmas baking there on Sunday. They usually have a Christmas open house, but this year they're combining it with the event. And they say hashtag once and done.
Don't blame you there.
That's awesome.
Nice. MC3 Cats wants to know hashtag FATAS during the live podcast. Will there be audience participation?
Oh, yes, there will.
Oh, I was going to say no.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to sit there quietly and properly until we're done. No, of course, just like our Thursday shows, this time you're going to use your own voice, but we could make them type it. Maybe we'll hand everybody a sheets of paper and they have to write their questions down and turn them in.
Yeah, everybody's going to get a little whiteboard,
okay,
marker, and they have to write the questions down and then stand there, like say anything with the whiteboard over their head. There you go. No, we are encouraging audience participation. In fact, what I posted on the there is a Facebook event for this event, and I posted in there today on behalf of you, Chris. Just so you know, I did that.
I noticed. I got the alert. Hey, somebody posted on the. I hope that was Land Monkey. I have to go look to see what was posted.
Have I been hacked? Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yes, but by me. But anyways, what I posted, the actual point of what I am saying, besides the fact that I've hacked Chris's accounts, is that there will be audience participation, MC3 Cats. And what we're asking is, if you're coming to the event, think about any geocaching fun little stories, brief stories that you have. Think about them a little bit in advance of what you might want to share. We're going to invite people to come up to the microphone and join the hosts at the mic and briefly share your stories. But we only have so much time for the live podcast. So if you can keep your stories concise, that would be fantastic. We would really enjoy hearing from you guys and having you share your stories in your own words.
Mm-hmm. We talk about our chat going on Thursdays and how beneficial it is. Well, right now in the chat, we've got people working carpools together to get on the ferry. So, if you're not watching live, maybe you're missing a chance to carpool.
There you go. You're probably missing all kinds of fun if you're not watching live and not having the opportunity to participate in the chat there.
So there you have it. Let's see. We have Breitling posted that SpaceX is targeting December 18th launch of GPS-3 SV-01, that's Space Vehicle 01, from Pad 40 in Florida. That will be the first of the GPS-3 series satellites to launch.
That's cool. Hey, Nick, do you follow the SpaceX launches and such?
I do. I follow them on Twitter, so I see every time they're posting a launch and posting the pictures and stuff like that of the launch. So is this satellite the one that's going to make GPS more accurate, or?
Yes. Well, okay. It's the first of a new constellation of GPS satellites. We're currently on like generation 2F, so this will be generation 3. I don't know how many have to be in the constellation before they can bring it online.
So there's no date of when it will come online?
I can't recall.
Here's what I want to know. Will the satellites be trackable with Cashly coins attached to them?
Yes.
Of course.
Good answer, Nick. I love it.
Nick, as a developer of a GPS enabled program, do you know much about how the satellites work, or do you just assume, you get a signal and a location and you move from there? You let the phone handle that part? I don't
I know
know.
a lot about how they work. I don't know the nitty gritty science of it really, but I mean, I know a fair amount, especially pertaining to the iPhone where it has assisted GPS,
Mhm.
where you'll get a GPS fix, knowing where your cell tower is or your Wi-Fi and stuff like that, as opposed to if you're out in the woods and you only are using the GPS radio. So, and I've been working on GPS based apps for probably 10 years. So I've spent a long time, at least in the code of location based services on iOS. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Well,
very, very familiar.
I guess that didn't quite come out right. I mean, I assume you understand that, but I didn't know if you did any programming or you allowed location services to do that work for you and just give Cachly location based on location services, or do you tap in and derive some location beyond location services?
No, Apple makes it pretty easy with their code. So they are optimizing for battery and all those kind of things and providing all the locations to me as they come in. So I mean, locations come to the iPhone very quickly. You might receive one every second or something like that as it's adjusting. So there is no other way that I would receive that kind of data except for their specific APIs that they have for location services. So if that kind of new satellite comes online, somehow those APIs would have to be able to work with the chip on your iPhone, obviously, and I'm sure they would have to update the hardware and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
to get those kind of new things in your iPhone, maybe they're already built in there, and then it would just start working when those things come online. I'm assuming that's probably how it is, that they've already planned ahead for those kind of things.
Maybe. I know the iPhone works with GPS, um, GLONASS,
Mm-hmm.
and I never pronounce the Chinese one right, but I say Beidou, Beidou. Um, I don't know if it works with that one or not. I doubt it's set up for GPS 3 since we're just launching now. I mean, I've read, articles that 5G won't be on the iPhones until like 2020, even though
Yeah, I
it's,
saw that too.
out starting to be delivered now. So
Hmm.
I don't expect
Yeah.
them to, be able to use GPS 3 signals right away.
Well, there you go. And this episode of Geo Gearheads was brought to you by our
Yeah.
sponsor, Ashley. Oh, that's funny. I did at the risk of switching gears, Nick, I did have a question for you. So I was looking at the quality logs versus TFTC comment again, but it made me think from a Cachly perspective. Um, is there a consideration when you're doing the development or you're doing the versioning of it, on the size of logs? Like, is that an aspect you need to think about of how long a log is, either from a graphical user interface perspective or a data consumption perspective? Is it something you think about?
Probably not data consumption, but user interface, that kind of thing is an issue, especially on iPhone, because your keyboard pops up and then your typable area is smaller. So I remember when I was first developing it, I made it so that when the keyboard popped up, I didn't realize that your text would go behind the keyboard. And so you have to program it so that your actual view slides up and it's no longer down at the bottom of your phone. So there's a lot of things like that the iPhone doesn't do for you. So you have to get notifications when your keyboard pops up and know how high it is. And depending on your device, it might be higher than other ones. If you're using a custom keyboard that you can download, that's also something you have to watch for. And then the iPad is different and they have all these different sizes. So there's a lot of small little things like that you have to pay attention to. So yeah, I mean, that's that's something that I ran into as far as the user interface for sure.
Cool. That's interesting. Yeah, the thought occurred to me as I was looking at the question and thinking, is there a way I can spin this question so that I don't have to talk about the same thing I always talk about when I'm asked about quality logs versus TFTC? Given that you're on the show, I thought, that I'm curious about that, right? I know very little about app development, especially current application development on smartphone platforms. So it's a very foreign world to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is a limit for the characters of a log, but I don't know. Maybe you guys know if there's a character limit. So if there is a character limit, there would be an error that I would
4,000?
receive from the API. Is it 4,000?
Yeah, it's something like that. I know there is a character limit. I have heard it before. I just don't remember exactly.
I've hit it.
Yeah.
You've hit it. Of course you have.
While typing, yeah.
Telling stories of
completely unnecessary things.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Brian.
Okay, Nick, I've got a Cachly development idea.
Okay.
I want you to be able to analyze the logs. If they put in TFTC or anything shorter than that, a big screen pops up and says, "No, you can't submit this log unless you use
that
more
would
words."
be pretty easy, actually.
Okay.
Or they just couldn't hit the submit button. It just wouldn't work.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. But you do allow templates, right? Log templates?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, log templates, and then you can build templates based on, if it's a find or DNF or they can templates where you can insert them into your log text. So you could create, 20 different long logs that you like to write. People like to do that, and then they'll type a little bit and then put in their template like at the end. So I don't know if that's frowned upon, but it's something that people like. If they're going on a trip, they like to say at the end, such and such caching group was going through Canada, blah, blah, blah. So I've seen lots of those kind of little template things at the end of their logs. So instead of typing that 50 times, they can insert it.
There you go. And I have no issue with the templated logs like that. I just always do. I personally do them, and I do exactly as you're saying, and I encourage others. If you have something unique to write it at the top. If you're going to make a comment about that particular cache or that area or whatever, put it at the top and then paste your templated information with your macros and whatever else. But I mean, basically what you've said here, Nick, is that there is zero excuse if you're a Cachly user for a TFTC log.
Absolutely. Yes.
If I can put words in your mouth.
And in version 5.1, TFTC will no longer be allowed in Cachly. I'm declaiming that now. Okay.
That's awesome. All right. Well, Nick.
Okay. No, that's not the truth, folks. Well, it might be.
It might
but
be.
As far as we know now, it's not.
Wait and see.
Wait and see. Awesome. Nick, did you have anything else you wanted to throw out there before we wrap it up for the night?
Just keep watching the Cachly social media and blog, and I will be continuing to post more details about some of the upcoming 5.0 features, with photos, screenshots, stuff like that. So if people are really interested in that, that's where you can look to see all the updates.
Awesome.
And thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
It's great to talk to you.
Anytime, Nick. We really appreciate you taking your time to speak with us. And, we have to tout the fact that you're a Northwesterner, just like we are. So
born and raised.
Yeah, there you go. So,
and my mother is Canadian, so it's a little bit in the Washington and British Columbia.
Exactly.
Wow, there you go. You just got a little closer to my heart, Nick. Awesome. All right, Chris, you want to wrap it up for tonight?
I think so, folks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.